Incredible journey. One Brazilian girl defies odds after boxer's shocking attempt to humiliate her. The gym buzzed with energy, muscles glistening, gloves cracking against leather. Lucia stood in the center, nerves dancing in her stomach, carrying the hopes of her family on her young shoulders. She was not just a girl, she was a dreamer, an immigrant fighting for a chance to breathe life into her family's dreams. But as the weigh-in approached, shadows crept in. The champion, a cocky local prodigy known as the Hammer, was swaggering through the crowd, confidence radiating like sunlight. When he spotted Lucia, his laughter cut through the air like a knife. "What's a girl like you doing here? This isn't a place for your kind." His words were an explosion in her chest, sending ripples of laughter across the audience. The humiliation settled in, clinging to her like a heavy cloak. "You're only wasting everyone's time," he sneered, eyes glinting under the hot lights. Despair washed over her, pulling her down. What was she doing here? Doubts gnawed at her resolve, threatening to unravel everything she worked for. The laughter echoed in her mind, clashing against her mother's sacrifices, who slaved away 2 shifts at the diner, tired but unwavering. Maria's dream for her daughter was to rise above the struggles of their urban neighborhood, but that dream now felt shaky, less bright, yet amidst this storm of emotion, a flicker of defiance sparked in Lucia's heart. Whispers began to gather, like small hands pushing her forward. Neighbors who had watched her train, who knew the dreams she chased, surprisingly supported her. "Don't let him get to you, Lucia," came a voice. The tide slowly turned, and pride intertwined with her fear. She tightened her jaw, remembering her roots, the rhythms of samba, the fierce spirit of her family, and the sacrifices made for her. Boxing wasn't just a sport for her, it was a way to shout back against the doubts, the unfairness, and the unyielding weight of her world. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days blended into nights filled with sweat and determination, Lucia pushed herself harder. Each punch released her pain, each round revealed her strength. But, just as the heat of training enveloped her, the Hammer found himself battling his demons, a family burden that loomed larger than life. Behind his bravado lay a loneliness that swirled like shadows, and this unexpected camaraderie between them began to shape their upcoming clash. The date of the rematch drew near, the throbbing anticipation reverberating through the community. Lucia, vibrant yet vulnerable, stood at the edge of her world, connecting with everyone who believed in her. With the weight of discovery electrifying the air, the stakes had never been higher. Heart pounding, she teetered between fear and dreams, wondering if she could emerge victorious not only in the ring, but within her own soul. As the night of the fight loomed closer, questions swirled like leaves in the wind. Would she find the strength to confront her fears and stake her claim, or would she crumble under the weight of every expectation? The moment was drawing near, and Lucia's heart raced with the fear and hope of millions who had fought for their own place in a world that often overlooked them. The night of the rematch finally arrived. The gym was packed, the air electric with excitement and anxiety. Lucia stood in front of a mirror, staring into her own reflection. The bright lights cast shadows under her eyes, but the fierceness behind her gaze had transformed. It reminded her of her mother's unwavering spirit. Maria had faced countless battles, but she never backed down. There was strength buried deep within her, and tonight was the night to uncover it. Outside, the crowd roared. Friends, family, and neighbors filled the bleachers, their cheers spilling into the crisp night air. Lucia could hear snippets of encouragement, voices filled with hope. "You can do this. Show him the fire within you." Gratitude coursed through her. These were the same faces that had been there during long training sessions, the same faces that believed in her before she could believe in herself. with her heart pounding in rhythm to the chants outside, Lucia wrapped her hands again in the familiar tape. Each pull and twist of the material grounded her, focusing her thoughts. She felt the intricate blend of anxiety and determination, knowing that both were fuel for the fire. This was not just about proving herself to them, but to her own heart. "Lucia!" A familiar voice called out. It was her coach, Greg, stepping into the cramped room. "You're ready for this. Remember, every punch is a step toward your dream. Don't just fight him. Fight like it's your last breath. Let them see the real you." His voice was steady, a lifeline amidst the chaos swirling in her mind. As she walked towards the ring, the bright lights felt blinding, the crowd's energy roaring like an ocean wave. She climbed the steps, absorbing every second. The Hammer stood across the ring, a smirk plastered on his face, confidence radiating off him like heat from the sun. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw something different, an echo of doubt lurking beneath that bravado. It was a glimmer of vulnerability that no one else could see. Round 1. The referee shouted, and the bell rang, cutting through the charged atmosphere. The first blows were tentative, a dance between two worlds. Lucia felt every connection of glove against glove, the sweat running down her brow mixing with determination. She remembered the chants, absorbed the resilience that had carried her this far. With each punch, she focused not only on her opponent but on the faces supporting her outside. They had faith in her. She couldn't let them down, but as the rounds progressed, the Hammer came on stronger. His punches felt sharper, targeting her weaknesses, landing with an unsettling accuracy. Each time she got hit, flashes of doubt came creeping back. The laughter from the weigh-in replayed in her mind. Would she ever truly belong? But in those moments, something renewed inside her. The spirit of her people surged up, louder than his scorn. She couldn't let fear take over. Lucia dug deeper, finding her rhythm. She began responding with lightning-fast punches, her heart sinking to the beat of the crowd's energy. With every jab and weave, she carved out her own path. This wasn't just a fight for victory, it was a fight for dignity, a fight for herself, her dreams, and the sacrifices made by her family. The rhythm shifted, and something clicked within her. As the final bell rung out, Lucia stood tall, visibly exhausted but alive. The fight may have ended, but the battle for her identity had just begun. What would be the judge's call? Would it be a win that reflected her true spirit, or would it only echo the doubts she fought so hard to silence? As the announcer raised his microphone, the tension in the air thickened. The gym fell silent, the intensity hanging thick as if everyone collectively clutched their breaths. Lucia's heart hammered in her chest, the moment stretched like a taut rubber band ready to snap. She scanned the faces in the crowd, her father's stoic gaze, her mother's warm smile from a memory long gone, her friends' eager expressions. They were her lifelines, grounding her, reminding her of all that had led to this single heartbeat in time. "Ladies and gentlemen," the announcer's voice boomed, taking his time. "We have a decision." Each word hung in the air, punctuating her pulse. Lucia's eyes locked onto the Hammer. In that moment, he was no longer a fearsome opponent but merely a man. His smirk faltered, a hint of vulnerability creeping in. They were both warriors in their own right, but resilience was painted deeper in her veins. After 3 rounds of intense action, the announcer continued, his voice echoing in her ears like a heartbeat. Lucia swallowed hard, the hurt from his punches still fresh. Did they see the determination in her eyes? Did they recognize the fire she fought with? Her mother's spirit surged within her, reminding her that no matter the outcome, she had already fought her way back from doubt. That had to count for something, didn't it? The judges scored the fight. The words trailed into silence, creating a dramatic pause that felt like an eternity. Finally, the announcer raised his hand, clutching the small slip of paper, his gaze sweeping across the crowd. In a split decision he began. Lucia's breath hitched as she clenched her fists. "The winner is Lucia." A cacophony of cheers erupted, drowning out everything. The cheers couldn't just be for the decision, they were for her fight, her journey. Tears sprang to her eyes, not of sorrow, but of overwhelming relief. She felt the weight of the world lift off her shoulders. In that moment, she was more than just a boxer, she was a symbol of hope, a testament to perseverance. Lucia raised her arms, soaking in the moment. She fulfilled not just her dream but a legacy. The hammer's expression soured, shadows flickering across his face, but she didn't care. She had conquered more than just the ring, she battled the echoes of doubt within her, winning a fight that had been years in the making. Greg raced into the ring, enveloping her in a bare hug. "I knew you had it in you," he shouted over the roaring crowd. "I almost didn't," she admitted, breathless. The fight had taken everything, but it also revealed her depth. In great trials, she found strength, but even as the celebration swirled around her, new questions began to stir. What did this victory truly mean in the grand scheme of things? What would her next steps be now that she had drawn the world's attention? As the crowd began to dissipate and the adrenaline faded, realization hit her: this was just the beginning. She had fought hard, but the labor of self-discovery awaited her. Where would she go from here? Lucia looked around the gym, seeing not just her victory but the many faces of defeat and resilience. It wasn't just her fight she had to navigate, it was their stories too. Stepping out of the ring, she felt a new flame inside her. What awaited her beyond this moment? She had won today, but she was just getting started. Would she be brave enough to face the next challenge, wherever it might take her? The lights of the gym buzzed, the tension slowly ebbing into a soft hum of life. Lucia stepped down from the ring, still feeling the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The cheers had faded, but her heart was full. She turned her back on the spotlight, slipping away from the throng to catch her breath. Outside, the fresh air hit her like a wave, the coolness grounding her as she walked away from the chaos. She thought about the fight, replaying each punch and counter, the ache in her ribs reminding her of the struggle. Her fingers brushed against the metal of her championship belt, a tangible reminder of her hard-fought glory. Yet, joy tangled with uncertainty, the victory felt like an open door, but what lay beyond? She caught sight of Greg waiting by the entrance, his exuberant grin pulling her back into the moment. "You did it, Lucia. You really did." He stepped forward, eyes bright with pride. "What's next? Are you ready for a title shot or what?" His enthusiasm was infectious, but her smile faltered. I don't know yet." The truth was tricky. The championship was a beautiful goal, and yet. What if I can't do it again? "Hey," he interjected, tilting her chin up to meet his gaze. "You just defeated the Hammer. That's a statement. Think of all the people who saw that fight. You've inspired them." She nodded, but the weight of his words began to settle in. Inspiring others felt monumental, yet with this new identity came immense pressure. She remembered the faces in the crowd, some lit with hope, others filled with dreams they feared to chase. If she stumbled, would she crush their aspirations? "Let's go celebrate," Greg said, his voice returning to an upbeat tone. "You deserve a night out. Your first victory bash." Lucia let the thought hang in the air, but her mind raced far away from the celebration. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, breaking her thoughts. A message from her father flashed on the screen. "Proud of you, Lucia. Your mom would be too." A wave of warmth washed over her, but it tangled with a pulse of grief sharper than she expected. She missed her mother, the steady voice that would have offered her wisdom now. But the absence also pushed her to honor that legacy. She yearned to show everyone, and especially her mom, that she was stronger than ever. "Lucia?" Greg's voice broke through, and she shook her thoughts away, forcing a smile. "Yeah, let's do this." She straightened, the fire kindling once more inside her. "But first, I think we should check in with some of the younger fighters. They need to see that you can rise from the ashes, and I want to be there for them." "Absolutely." Greg replied as they walked back into the gym. You can't forget where you came from. As they entered, the gym was already buzzing again, filled with the energy of new and hopeful faces. Lucia felt renewed, grounded again in the very place that had shaped her journey. She could be both a champion and a mentor, weaving her story through theirs, but even as she stepped further into this role, a new voice echoed in her head, a whisper from the ring. What if the next challenge wouldn't just be in the gym, but facing her own fears about the future? Prepared or not, she was about to find out. The gym hummed with life as Lucia stepped back in, her heart pounding with a mix of pride and trepidation. The smell of sweat and determination filled the air, and she couldn't help but smile as she spotted the younger fighters gathered in a circle, their eyes shining with eagerness. Greg nudged her, raising an eyebrow. There they are. Show 'em what you've got. Lucia took a deep breath and approached them. The excited chatter quieted as they noticed her presence, faces lighting up like she was a superhero stepping out of a comic book. Hey, everyone! She called out, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. Lucia! Lucia! They chanted, their cheers filling the room with warmth. You all did great work today. I remember when I was in your shoes full of dreams, a bit scared, but ready to fight. She stepped into the circle, radiating the energy she had just experienced in the ring. One girl, no older than 16 with a vibrant headband and defiant posture, stepped forward. What was it like, fighting the hammer? Were you scared? Lucia chuckled softly, recalling the initial shadow of doubt that had crept over her. I won't lie, when I first stepped into that ring, fear bubbled inside me. I thought about all the things that could go wrong. But then I remembered why I loved boxing. I focused on my training, my heart, and I fought back. The girl nodded, captivated. Did you think about quitting? Of course. Everyone has those moments, even champions. But I learned something important. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. You're stronger than you imagine. Her heart swelled as she saw hope flicker in their eyes. When she finished, a round of applause erupted, echoing off the gym walls. Lucia felt the rush of connection. This wasn't just about her. It was about creating a ripple effect, encouraging dreams beyond the boxing ring. Suddenly, Greg pulled her aside, his expression serious. Hey, you have a quick minute? I want to talk logistics about the next steps. Title shots, sponsorships, it's all coming together, but we need a plan. His enthusiasm was palpable, but as he spoke, Lucia felt a familiar surge of anxiety. A title shot? She repeated, uncertain. As much as she wanted to leap into that spotlight, the weight of what it meant loomed before her. Yeah. You're ready for it. But I need you focused. No distractions, he said, his voice calm yet firm. Lucia nodded, but the doubt lingered like a phantom. The cheers of the younger fighters filled her mind, mixing with the fear of failure. Could she live up to the expectations? The whispers of self-doubt grew louder. As if sensing her turmoil, Greg placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. You can do this. Remember, we're in this together. She took a moment, letting his words sink in. You're right. But let us take one step at a time. I want to help the team grow first. That's my focus. Greg smiled, a glimmer of pride sparking in his eyes. That's the spirit. But we'll need to talk strategy soon, just a heads up. Lucia watched as he walked away, immersed in his thoughts. The uncertainty swirled inside her, battling against the hope she had ignited earlier. What if she was meant to tread a different path? As the gym buzzed around her, Lucia's heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. She glanced at the young fighters, inspiration igniting in their eyes. Somewhere between legacy and ambition, a new journey awaited. But was she ready to face a challenge that might just redefine her? The noise faded as she contemplated the choices before her. Choices that would pave her path not only as a fighter but a beacon of hope. And just then, a stranger entered. The door swung wide to reveal an unexpected figure, someone she never thought she'd see again, casting a shadow over her newfound determination. Lucia's breath caught in her throat as the stranger stepped inside. The familiarity slammed into her like a punch. It was Mia, her childhood rival and the one person she had hoped never to see in her gym again. Mia's presence was electric, sending a wave of nerves coursing through Lucia. Mia, she breathed, emotions swirling just beneath the surface. The memories, both bitter and sweet, flooded back. Their history was a mix of fierce competition and unspoken camaraderie. They had fought tooth and nail in their youth, their ambition fueling a friendship that had burned bright before it fizzled out, leaving behind unresolved tension and wounds. "Lucia," Mia replied, a hint of a smirk playing on her lips. She was dressed in her classic training gear, her muscles defined and her confidence radiating outward. "I heard you were making waves in the boxing world. Didn't he expect to find you here?" The gym seemed to shrink around Lucia. Her friends, her sense of purpose, everything she had worked so hard for felt suddenly fragile. "What are you doing here?" she managed to ask, her voice steadier than she felt. "Oh, just passing through. Thought I'd check out the competition." Mia scanned the room, her gaze landing on the eager young fighters who surrounded Lucia. "You certainly have a fan club." Lucia bristled at the jab. This wasn't just about competition for Mia, it was personal. And yet, she couldn't help but feel the flicker of something deeper, a challenge. "I'm here to help them grow." Not everyone measures success by title shots or fancy sponsorships, she shot back, determined to stand her ground. Mia raised an eyebrow, her expression shifting to one of genuine curiosity. "Helping? Isn't that a bit, unlike you?" "People change," Lucia replied, a fire igniting within her. "And I've learned that it's about more than just winning." Just then, the younger fighters gathered closer, drawn by the charged atmosphere. They sensed the tension between the two women, their wide eyes gleaming with anticipation. Lucia felt their energy. She was supposed to be their hero, the one who inspired them. "What do you say, Lucia? Does your heart still race for the gold?" Mia's voice cut through the murmurs, sharp and taunting. She was laying down a gauntlet without even needing to throw a punch. "Of course it does," Lucia said, heart pounding. "But it's not just about glory for me anymore. It's about showing them that you can fight for something bigger." Mia stepped closer, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. "You really think you can inspire them? What if you're just distracting yourself from your own dreams?" The words hit harder than any blow in the ring. Lucia felt her resolve waver for a moment, doubt creeping in. "And what? You're here to show me the real way? By tearing others down? The real world doesn't care about your feelings, Lucia." "You've got to be prepared for the fight," Mia replied, her eyes glimmering with a fierce intensity. "Maybe that's true," Lucia conceded, feeling a swell of anguish. "But I refuse to be part of a world that thrives on fear. It's not worth it." As the tension simmered, Greg emerged from the training area, sensing the charged energy. He glanced between the two women, concern shadowing his features. "What is going on here?" "I was just catching up with an old friend," Lucia said, casting a quick look at Mia, who met her gaze with something unreadable. Greg's skepticism didn't go unnoticed. "Let us keep the focus, everyone. We have a lot of work to do." The younger fighters dispersed slightly, but the tension lingered in the small space, wrapping around Lucia like a heavy cloak. What was meant to be an inspiring moment now felt clouded by doubt. Lucia turned back to Mia and saw the slight smile on her face, a mixture of happiness and challenge. "Maybe I'll stick around a bit longer," Mia said with a glimmer in her eye. "Let us see if you really can walk the talk, Lucia." As they stood there, two women defined by their struggles, their past intertwining like the ropes of the ring, the enormity of the challenge ahead loomed large. What awaited them both? Wasn't he just a competition in the ring but a fight for their very souls? And at that moment, Lucia knew she had to make a decision that could change everything. Would she rise to face the shadow of her past, or would Mia's re-emergence shatter the fragile hope she had built? The gym felt charged, the resolve of the fighters shimmering like the air before a storm, one that was brewing on the horizon, and Lucia would soon have to confront it head-on. The air buzzed with tension, thick enough to slice through. Lucia felt every heartbeat echo in her ears as she faced Mia, the weight of their shared history heavy in the atmosphere. Her fingers fidgeted, a habit creeping back in. She willed herself to focus, to stand her ground. "Let us see what you've been teaching these kids," Mia said, a challenge clear in her voice. "Why don't you show us a drill? I'm curious how you train these aspiring champions." Lucia eyed the younger fighters, their eager faces watching intently. They were here to learn, not to be caught in another round of her unresolved battles. But there was something about the challenge in Mia's tone that ignited the determined fighter in her. "Sure," Lucia replied, her voice firmer than she felt. "Let us do some sparring." Something flashed in Mia's eyes, part excitement, part mischief. "A little showcase? I'd love to see what moves you've got." The two women squared off in the center of the gym, the murmurous crowd parting, every eye now on them. Lucia felt the weight of anticipation. She couldn't back down, not now. And yet, her heart raced, pounding a wild rhythm of anxiety and adrenaline. "All right, everyone gather around," Greg called, trying to divert some of the tension. The younger fighters circled closer, practically bouncing on their feet, thrilled at the unexpected turn. Lucia took a deep breath, centering herself as she slipped into her stance. Memories of late-night practice sessions and blistered hands flooded her mind. She was here to inspire them, not just through words but through action. Mia mirrored her stance, her smirk growing, confident and relentless. "You really think you can inspire these kids, huh?" she taunted, bouncing lightly on her feet. "Hearts don't win fights, skills do," Mia said, lunging forward suddenly, throwing a quick jab that Lucia narrowly dodged. Lucia felt a rush of energy and instinct kick in. She countered with a swift hook, connecting lightly with Mia's shoulder. It was just practice, but the surge of adrenaline flooded through her veins. "You've got to do better than that, Lucia," Mia challenged, a fire igniting behind her eyes. As they sparred, Lucia lost herself in the rhythm of movement, the punches, the dodges, their footwork weaving a dance steeped in years of rivalry. Cheers erupted from the onlookers, invigorated by the lived history unfolding before them. Lucia felt a mixture of exhilaration and fear. Every punch was a dance of their past, words unsaid and emotions unexpressed thrown into the air like quicksilver. Mia was unyielding, pushing her limits and forcing Lucia to react, to remember what drove her. The young fighters were shouting encouragement, feeding into the whirlwind of energy. "Come on, Lucia. Show her your skills." Their voices blended into a symphony that filled the gym, painting a picture of hope and determination. For the first time, Lucia felt a shift. It wasn't just about winning or losing against Mia. It was a chance to teach these kids resilience facing adversities, big or small. She focused her mind, weaving through Mia's attacks with newfound grace, finding joy in each connection. But as they continued, a moment came, Mia delivering a swift uppercut that caught Lucia off guard. It was a sharp reminder of the stakes at play. Lucia stumbled back, regaining her footing, heart racing, doubt slithering back into her mind. "Careful, Lucia," Mia warned, her tone slightly more serious now. "You need to stay sharp. It's not about the past." Lucia swallowed hard, the challenge hanging between them. Was she really ready to showcase her journey? To turn her past rivalry into something that could uplift others? As she squared up again, the fighters around them were buzzing with anticipation, the energy crackling. They needed to see the fight, needed to see her rise. But could she pull herself out of the storm of emotions swirling within? Focused and determined, Lucia took a deep breath, ready to push beyond herself. She had to rise, not just in this moment but also for every fighter's path intertwined with hers. And just as she lifted her hands to continue, she felt a surge of inspiration coursing through her. She wasn't just fighting against Mia, she was fighting to show every kid in this gym that they could conquer their fears too. But then, as she prepared to engage with renewed determination, Mia's eyes sparkled with a challenge that hinted at an even greater fight ahead. "Let us see if you can handle what I'm really about to unleash," Mia said with a smirk that sent a chill down Lucia's spine. Would Lucia be ready to face whatever lay beyond this confrontation? Or would Mia's presence unravel the very foundation she was trying to build? The answer loomed just beyond reach, enveloped in a fog of uncertainty that hung heavily in the air. Mia's smirk deepened, a glint of mischief dancing in her eyes as she shifted into an aggressive stance. Lucia felt the shift in energy around them, the eager faces watching, the palpable anticipation hanging in the air. This was no longer just a friendly spar, it was a test of wills, of lessons learned and battles yet to fight. "All right then," Lucia replied, her voice a little louder now, tinged with a conviction she didn't fully feel. She dug her feet into the mat, channeling the noise around her into a sharp focus. "Let us see what you've got." Mia charged forward with an unexpected speed, throwing feints and jabs, each movement a flash of precision. Lucia dodged, but Mia's relentless onslaught forced her to think quickly. A punch connected with her ribs, sending a jolt through her body. The crowd gasped, their collective breath holding as Lucia staggered for a beat. "Stay grounded." Greg's voice called out, sounding more like a coach than a friend, urging her to find her center again. Lucia took stock of her surroundings, of the kids who gathered closer, eyes wide with awe and excitement. They were her lifeline, the reason she couldn't back down. With renewed resolve, she remembered why she started, not just for herself, but for every single person who believed in her. As Mia lunged again, Lucia caught the flash of her determination and knew this was a reflection of her self-pride against vulnerability. The fight wasn't merely physical, it was a cathartic release of fears, a showdown against insecurities that felt all too familiar. "Mia, you've been at this longer than I have," Lucia said, a breathless laugh escaping as she sidestepped an incoming blow. "But I'm not the same person anymore." With that declaration, Lucia let go of her past, of the doubts, the fears, and for the first time, she felt light. She ducked once more, countering with a precise jab to Mia's stomach, the impact echoing the thrill of her newfound strength. The gasp from the crowd erupted into cheers. "Yes!" shouted one of the younger fighters, clapping his hands together. "Go, Lucia!" Their enthusiasm fueled her fire, igniting the fighter within. "Getting stronger, huh?" Mia panted, shaking off the blow and resetting her stance, a genuine respect beginning to color her challenge. "Let us see if you can keep up." Mia unleashed a flurry of strikes, a whirlwind of speed that mirrored the storm in Lucia's chest. Each punch reminded her of the trials she had faced, every bruise telling a story of resilience. Just as she felt to be drowning in the whirlwind, Lucia remembered her purpose and all she stood for. She blocked an uppercut, and in that moment, everything clicked into place. She was not just fighting for herself, but for the kids watching, for each of them to see their own strength. She shifted her weight, launching a decisive high kick that connected solidly, throwing Mia off balance. Cheers rang out. "You've got this, Lucia." Voices called from the sidelines, believing in her, rooting for her just as she had once rooted for them, but the moment felt fragile, like a sugar candy creation threatening to crack under pressure. Mia grinned, regaining her balance as she met Lucia's gaze. "Not bad. But I think I've still got a few surprises left." In a heartbeat, the air shifted again. Lucia could see it, the tension coiling, the crowd holding its breath. What was Mia planning next? Lucia's heart raced as she braced herself. Was she truly prepared for this new level of challenge? Could she muster the courage to push through whatever Mia had in store? The thought hung heavy in the air, thick with the possibility of transformation. As they squared off once more, the cheers of the younger fighters faded into a soft whisper, a tense moment gathering like storm clouds overhead, intense, electric, and full of potential. Just when Lucia thought she had a handle on the situation, Mia unleashed an unexpected barrage of calculated moves that sent her reeling. Was this the moment where everything would change? The fight had taken on a significance that transcended the gym, and Lucia's heart ignited with a fierce determination. She wouldn't just fight to win, she'd fight to transform. But could she rise above in this critical moment, or was this the precipice before a fall? The questions lingered as they circled each other, the next move hanging in the balance like a completion waiting to be realized. Mia lunged again, her movement fluid and fierce, like a panther pouncing out of the shadows. Lucia barely had time to react, but she remembered Greg's voice, clear in her mind, "Stay grounded." She focused, finding her footing just in time to block Mia's incoming fist. The impact reverberated through her arms, but Lucia pressed on. She took a step back, managing to catch her breath, her heart pounding loudly in her chest. She could feel the excitement in the crowd shift as the kids gasped and cheered, hanging on to every moment. Then Mia surprised her with a swift roundhouse kick that Lucia barely managed to duck under. The adrenaline surged through Lucia's veins as she realized Mia had elevated the stakes. This was no longer about just skill, it was about heart. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Mia was relentless, a storm of fists and feet coming in at every angle. Lucia danced back, staying light on her feet. Each strike felt like a conversation, and she was desperately trying to keep pace, dodging blows that were both artistic and punishing. Sweat trickled down her brow, stinging her eyes. She wiped it away and snapped her focus back to Mia, who was glaring at her with determination. "Come on, Lucia. You can do better than that," Mia shouted, a playful edge in her challenge. At that moment, Lucia felt the weight of the crowd's gaze and it ignited something deep within her. "You're right," Lucia yelled back, finding her voice in the chaos. "I haven't even shown you what I can really do." With renewed vigor, she charged forward, harnessing the energy of the onlookers, channeling their faith into something tangible. Lucia slipped inside Mia's reach, throwing a full-body jab that landed squarely on Mia's chest. The sudden surprise on Mia's face was everything. Lucia had made her mark, cheers erupted, a wave crashing over Lucia's doubts and fears. The crowd was alive, energy pulsating and electric. The younger fighters were bouncing on their toes, their eyes bright with inspiration. Mia regained her balance faster than ever, but Lucia had broken through a threshold. She could see it. Mia was impressed, just as much as she was invigorated by Lucia's newfound strength. "No more games, Lucia," Mia declared, stepping into a more defensive posture. There was a seriousness now, a depth in the sparring that hinted at respect. The playful rivalry had transformed into a fierce contest of wills. As they squared off once more, Lucia felt her body shift, adapting to Mia's fighting style. She anticipated the next strike, reading the slightest twitch of Mia's muscles. Time slowed. She could hear her heart, feel the rhythm of her breath. Lucia knew this was her chance. Digging deep, she launched a series of precise jabs, quick and nimble, like a dance she had finally learned. Each hit landed with a satisfying thud, marking her growth and grit. And with every connection, she felt lighter, more determined. But just as Lucia thought she had the momentum, Mia countered with an explosive combination that left Lucia stunned. Her vision blurred for a split second, and she staggered backward, caught off guard. The crowd hushed, the tension freezing the moment. Lucia closed her eyes for a heartbeat, grounding herself. She opened them again, locking her gaze on Mia, seeing the anticipation mirrored there. This wasn't just a match, it was a reflection of all the hurdles they had overcome, a testament to all their struggles. In that moment of clarity, Lucia felt an overwhelming sense of purpose wash over her. She was ready not just to fight, but to win in a way that transformed everything. But as they prepared for the next round, she knew big risks were on the horizon. Could she truly conquer her biggest fears and emerge from this battle changed forever? The question lingered, leaving the crowd suspended in anticipation. The gym hummed with energy, but Lucia felt a pulse deeper within her. The battle with Mia was no longer just about proving herself, it was about connection, community, and the hopes of everyone who had ever believed in her. She stood there, heart racing, her breath steadying as she squared off against Mia once more. "Let us finish this," Lucia declared, her voice ringing with conviction. The crowd erupted in excitement, drawing strength from her words. They were a living embodiment of her dreams, the younger fighters beaming with encouragement. Mia grinned, a hint of respect in her eyes as she prepared for the final round. The air crackled with anticipation, electrifying every corner of the gym. Lucia felt empowered as she seized the moment, her movements reflecting the lessons learned from the past. This wasn't just about the brute force thrown in the ring, it was about heart, resilience, and the growing legacy she could pass on. With a deep breath, Lucia streamlined her focus, feeling the energy around her wash over her like warm sunlight. Mia lunged forward, reflecting the same fire that had once sparked their rivalry. The furious exchanges renewed and pushed both fighters to the edge. Fists flew back and forth, each punch telling a story, a history steeped in struggle and triumph. Every contact, every dodge, pulled Lucia deeper into the moment, but as the round continued, Lucia started to notice something change within Mia. The sharp edges of her punches softened slightly, a flicker of vulnerability emerging amidst the competitive fire. There was a shared understanding stemming from the journey they had both traveled. Every setback, every moment of doubt whispered through their movements. "Fight like you mean it," Lucia shouted, letting the tides of encouragement flow through her. And that's when Mia pulled back, a calculated feint, the kind that would normally take Lucia by surprise. But now, after everything she had faced, Lucia anticipated the move. She slid easily to the side, launching forward to deliver a solid punch that landed perfectly on Mia's side, driving a gasp from her. "Mia!" Lucia called, hoping to cut through the competitive air. "This isn't just about us anymore, it's about showing everyone they matter." With every word, she poured her heart into the ring, uniting their rivalries into strength. At that moment, something shifted in Mia's expression. The fire dimmed slightly, replaced by a look of realization. "You know what?" she said, breathless but animated. "You're right, we are more than just fighters. We're role models." The crowd ignited at the acknowledgement, a wave of hope and solidarity surging through the gym. Suddenly, the gym was more than just a venue for a fight. It was a sanctuary of growth and connection, an ecosystem of resilience. With renewed energy pushing them forward, the final punches flew with harmonized intensity. They danced, dodged, and struck, both fighters shining in their glory. And then, with a sudden silence, Lucia landed a final blow that sent Mia tumbling back. "Mia!" Lucia rushed over, offering a hand to help her up. "We did this together." Mia took her hand, rising slowly but with a smile slowly brightening her features. "You've grown, Lucia. You truly have." Cheers erupted throughout the gym, filling the air with shared pride. Lucia breathed in deeply, drinking in the moment of transformation. She raised her arms, a champion not just of the ring, but of the dreams painted in the hearts of those around her. A voice rang from the crowd, her father's familiar tone echoed, "That's my girl." Tears brimmed in her eyes. Overwhelmed by the love that surrounded her, Lucia realized she had done far more than win a match. She had sparked a fire in others. As the gym lights dimmed, shining on her as the new champion, something profound clicked within her spirit. This journey was just beginning. What awaited her was uncharted territory, but it was a path brimming with hope. Lucia turned to the eager young fighters by her side, ignited by inspiration. She would be their mentor, guiding them through life's challenges. "Mia! Let us inspire them together." Lucia shouted, her voice filled with certainty. Mia nodded, her smirk more genuine, a partnership blossoming amidst the embers of rivalry. Let us show them what it means to be a fighter. Together, they stepped into a shared light, a transformation forged in conflict, collaboration, and love. Lucia had triumphed not only in the ring, but over every doubt that sought to hold her back. Would she fearlessly carve her path ahead? Only time would tell. But for now, the future looked bright, and if you've loved this journey, now is the moment for you to take action. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately so you don't miss the next incredible stories. Hit that like button right now. Every click feeds the algorithm and helps this epic community grow. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you feel from Lucia's journey? Let us get the conversation going, and don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who need a boost of motivation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the word.